Profile share via email report story. Somewhere around 2 a.m., just when she was about to fall asleep, she saw a shadow in the form of a ship near the coast. She blinked twice to completely wake up and looked once more. Nothing was there. Absolutely nothing. Did she just imagine it? Maybe she did. The spot where she thought she saw the ship was too far away and there was no way she would leave the ship to go check. If someone was to get on the Sunny while she was gone, the others could be in trouble, so she just kept watch the whole night without closing an eye. At about 5 a.m., looking down, she saw Sanji coming out of the men's room, heading for the kitchen. Sighing, relieved that she could finally close her eyes, she fell asleep right there. Asterisk. Opening her eyes, the sun was already shining bright on the morning sky and Luffy's scream reached her ears, waking her up. Finally, I get to eat. I was so hungry. Nami figured that it was already time for breakfast but she didn't hurry. Rolling on her back, she closed her eyes and stood there for another 10 minutes before standing up and coming down on the deck. As she was walking to the kitchen, she heard Usopp's voice. "Boy, where's Nami? I'm gonna go look for her." Luffy had already stood up, but was stopped by Franky. "You should let her sleep. She took over my night shift so she must be tired. While we're still at it, hasn't anyone noticed that she looks really tired lately?" Brook interfered on a worried voice. "Now that you mention it, is she sleeping well?" Chopper agreed. "Well, of course I don't sleep well as there's a certain someone on my mind 24/7, Nami thought, smiling at her friend's concern. It was, anyway, the first time she noticed that, when she was with Luffy in that cave, was the first time she had a decent sleep in a while. All the other nights, she would stay up, thinking of who else than her childish captain. Entering the kitchen, she took her seat, pretending she didn't hear a thing and so everyone started eating. After the meal, Franky and Chopper headed for the town to help the people there. Luffy insisted on going, saying he wasn't half bad at building things, remembering the tree fort he once built with Ace and Sabo. Sanji accompanied them too, as he had to cook for those who couldn't. Usopp wanted to go and check the surroundings too as he didn't have the chance to the other day and so, the only left on the ship were Zoro, Nami, Brook and Robin. Nami looked towards the coast, tilting her head to the right. She really might have just imagined seeing things or the ship might have disappeared behind the coast real quick. Either way, she had to go and check, but going alone was out of the question. She suddenly blushed when she realized she was catching on Luffy's habits like the one when he tilts his head when thinking of something. Pushing that thought aside, she looked around the ship. "Hey, Brook, can you come with me? I have to go check something. It isn't far from here." Yeah, I'm coming now." There was no way she would take Zoro with her. He would only cause her trouble by getting lost and Robin was taking a bath. She didn't want to bother anyone with this when she wasn't even sure of what she did or didn't see. And as Brook was the only one who didn't seem to be doing anything important, she thought he wouldn't mind taking a walk, especially considering he didn't get off of the ship ever since they got on the island. Asterisk. "Say Nami-san, where are we going?" Brook asked as he started slowly playing his guitar. "Promoted stories. You'll also like. Roronoa Zoro, tilde remembering you tilde, fanfict. 2K87. And quad, I don't even know who you are and you're touching me like this. And quad, why you don't remember me? And quad, you looked up at him concerned, the weight of his words see. Luffy's jealousy, 73.1k 1.5k. Pairings. Luffy x Nami. What if the infamous Mugiwara crew docked on an unknown island? What if Nami had forgot? Daughter of the Sea, One Piece. 28.5K1K. You are invited to read the tales of the woman who would soon rule the hearts of many in the seas alongside the Straffut pirates. One Piece X Black Reader Majority of T. Luffy's death. 9.8K163. This is life for every person who has a specific time to live, but sometimes life is unfair in estimating lifespans. Evil people take longer lives than good people, but look out for the Straw Hats. 5.3K185. YN joins the Straw Hats after meeting them in Logatown, making her the crew's lookout. She can dream up anything she wishes, with some limits, and even has a pair of W. The last one, One Piece X Reader. 74K2.8K. Note: rewritten version of Enquad. She'll become the strongest Enquad, Exiomir D. YN, once a respected Marine, now infamous as the mastermind behind the judicial massacre. Gorgeous Blue, One Piece Live Action, Nami. 24.9K1K in quad. Ocean blue eyes looking in mine. I feel like I might sink and drown and die. And quad. A simple girl, daughter of a pirate captain, meets the future and quad, king. We've been walking for quite some time now. We should get to the place soon. Wait, don't sing now. There was a tall, talking skeleton that was looking at her, puzzled, and Nami thought how weird it would look from the outside. She found that thought amusing somehow, but she held back from laughing as that was some kind of a serious situation. Last night I took over Frankie's night shift to let him rest as he had to go and help the people with their houses. Well, at about 2 a.m. or so, I think I saw a ship near the coast. I just blinked twice to wake up completely, and when I looked again, it was gone. The thing is, it seemed pretty real, even though it was gone in the blink of an eye, literally. It might have just moved behind the huge rocks before I opened my eyes, so I really need to see if there's something wrong. It's alright, Nami-san. We'll go and check in. Well, if there really is something, we'll let Luffy-san know as soon as possible. I wonder if I should have told him, Nami said as she thought, worried, of what might happen. What if it's a marine ship? Then we're done for. Calm down, Nami-san. If it really is a marine ship, it would serve Luffy well if he knew. That's why we have to go check. Nami came back to her senses and nodded as they started walking again. The man was watching them while hiding behind the trees that were left standing after the storm. Cat burglar Nami, and Soul King that was recently announced to be part of the Straw Hats, he smirked while looking through the wanted posters. No mistaking it, it really is them. Brook widened his eyes. He doesn't have any yo-ho-ho-ho, hey, but you understand what I meant to say, and he placed himself in front of Nami, looking around, ready to get his sword out. What is it, Brook? Stay behind me, there's someone around. So they found me, the stranger whispered as he came out of his hiding place. As expected of the Straw Hats. He clapped his hands, talking louder this time so the two could hear him. Brook never let his guard down and he gently pushed Nami behind him. He thought that Luffy wouldn't forgive him if he ever let something happen to her. You're from the ship that docked near the coast last night, aren't you? Nami asked. The guy didn't say anything. He was just looking down so Nami and Brook couldn't see his facial expression. He had green hair and was dressed pretty weird. I can't believe it, he finally said while raising his head, completely ignoring Nami's question. He sounded suspiciously happy and had stars in his eyes. I really can't believe it. I'm having the honor to meet face-to-face Nami-senpai and Soul King-senpai themselves. What? Both Nami and Brook looked at each other, confused. What was wrong with that guy? I can't believe I've been given the honor to meet two of the Straw Hats right here. This day is blessed. Oh dear God, what did I do to deserve this? I've been truly blessed. Excuse me, but would you mind telling us who you are? Nami-senpai has asked me a question. I really can't believe my ears. She is even more beautiful than in that wanted poster. He continued with his bullshit, ignoring Nami's question once again. Hey, Nami shouted, making the green-haired weirdo stop his blabbering. Who are you? I'm terribly sorry. I failed to introduce myself and to answer your question. I am Bartolomeo. I've been admiring you all and watching you ever since the very beginning of your adventure. I have all your wanted posters and I know everything about all of you. Huh, Nami stepped back. What are you, a stalker? Well, I guess you could say that. Bartolomeo laughed with embarrassment. Anyway, I was inspired by Luffy Senpai and went out to sea, dreaming to, one day, become a pirate as great as he is. How could you be inspired by someone you've never met or you've never seen in person before? But I did see him. On the very island where the former pirate king, Gall D. Roger, was executed. He's been caught by that guy with a big red nose and was about to get his head chopped off right on the platform where Roger was executed. He didn't panic, nor did he beg for his life. I am the man who will become the Pirate King. That's what he shouted right before his death. And you know what? He was smiling. He was smiling as that guy held that blade at his neck. Did this really happen while we were separated on that island? Nami gasped while listening with interest. But the thing is, right when the blade was about to touch his neck, a thunder stroked the platform and he was saved. He didn't get affected because, he's rubber, but in that very moment, I was there and what I saw amazed me. I thought, what kind of mission do the heavens have for this man? And ever since that day, I've been watching your crew and I've been inspired by your captain. Both Brooke and Nami looked at him, amazed by the amount of admiration that man could hold for their captain. Nami smiled and, for the first time in her life, she deeply thought of the kind of man Luffy was. She's always been respecting him for the kind of person he was, but she never before thought of how people saw him from the outside. Hated by some of his enemies, making friends with others and admired by the ones who never crossed fists with him. I really did fall for a great man, she thought while smiling brightly. Nami-senpai, you've asked me if the ship you saw last night was mine, yes. Well, then, let me show it to you. There's no way you won't like it, not to mention the tangerines are great. Tangerines. Nami raised an eyebrow. What was he talking about? They followed him anyway. Even though Brooke was still a little bit suspicious, Nami didn't question Bartolomeo's intentions. She thought that no enemy of Luffy's could ever talk about him like that, so she decided to trust him. Soon enough, they could see the ship. It was, just where Nami thought, behind the coast. She had to admit that it was a really fast ship if it was able to disappear like that. Putting those thoughts aside, she opened her mouth in surprise at the sight of the giant wooden Luffy that has been built on the ship. Asterisk. After being given a tour around the ship, both Nami and Brooke were left speechless. Did that guy admire them so much? Not to mention that it wasn't only the crest-headed captain, but the whole crew was a huge fan of the Straw Hats. How did they even find each other? Nami thought with amusement. She had to admit that she was really impressed, but the thing that she appreciated the most was the small plantation of tangerines. Even though those guys were somehow creepy, knowing so much about them and all, they seemed like nice people. By the way, Nami-senpai, are you and Luffy-senpai a couple? Bartolomeo's question that came out of nowhere snapped Nami out of her thoughts, making her blush. Before she could open her mouth to answer, the ring of the Den Den Mushi saved her of the embarrassing situation. Nami Tilda, Luffy cried as soon as Nami answered. Where are you? I'm so bored. Robin is reading and Zoro is boring and doesn't want to play with me. All he does is sleep and train. Weren't you supposed to be with Frankie? Nami asked, knowing how much Luffy wanted to go and help. He sent me back to the ship saying that all I did was cause trouble, Luffy pouted. Anyway, where are you? Is Brook with you? Looking at Bartolomeo and his crew, she smiled and answered. Yeah, we've just met some interesting people. Alright, there you go. I'm late, I know. Sorry for that. Anyway, I wanted to tell you guys that I just got a great idea for a Luna fanfic which I'm going to start writing after I finish this book. The scenario goes like this. Nami is a waitress at a cafe that serves the best sandwiches. Sanji first took Luffy there and as expected, Luffy loved those simple, yet delicious sandwiches. He started going there every day after college and he used to always talk with Nami. As they got to know each other better, he started going at the cafe for a reason other than food. So, what do you guys think? Well, I don't plan on finishing this book anytime soon, but I'm still going to use this idea for a fanfic. See ya next time. Equals greater than. Where stories live.
Hold on.
Discover now.